Today we know that students with intellectual disability can learn so much more than what we expected 10 years ago. Back then we questioned whether it was even worth time to teach that academic content because we weren't sure that that time would be effective and there would be good outcomes. Now we know and have research that demonstrates that students with intellectual disability can learn to read. They can learn math, they can learn social studies and science, all that academic content. No Child Left Behind required that we do that, and now we have the research that shows and demonstrates how to do that. I'd like to introduce my colleague, Diane Browder, who will give you some examples and some stories about how that works.
10 years ago, we had low academic expectations for students with intellectual disability, especially those who had moderate and severe disabilities. We made assumption that some students wouldn't be able to learn to read, maybe because of their IQ, or because we had classified them with terms like trainable. One of the exciting things that's occurred in the last 10 years is that we've discovered more students with intellectual disabilities can learn to read. And not only learn to read, but learn the general education content of their grade level in math, science, language arts, social studies. And we've discovered that they can learn these skills in general education contexts. I just want to tell you a story about one little girl that transformed my thinking. I went to visit her classroom. She didn't have speech, and her communication goals were to point to the signs for toilet and eat, which she did inconsistently. There were no literacy skills, no reading skills on her IEP. But this was a teacher that decided to try more, and she used an interactive read aloud with a student and a story that was of great interest to her, adapted from a Disney movie. And when I went back to visit only a month later, this little girl was not only interacting with this story read aloud, but she was showing her understanding by pointing to symbols on a 9-symbol response board. And to my surprise, those symbols were not exact matches even to the pictures in the story. And for example, when asked when did the new toy arrive, she leans over a picture of a birthday cake and pantomimes, blowing out the candles, showing a deep understanding of what had happened in the story. Well, this little girl went on to not only understand text and be able to show understanding with a symbol board, but she learned phonics and could decode text for herself. And then she went on to be able to learn passages of text, to read passages of text and understand them. So she went from a little girl that, because she didn't speak, because of her IQ, because of her classification, would not have been given the opportunity to learn to read 10 years ago, and now has shown us that she can. And that's what we need in the 10 years coming up. We need more students to have these opportunities. Every student with intellectual disabilities should have the opportunity to learn to read, and full educational access to all the general curriculum content, and the opportunity to learn in general education contexts.